Welcome to Spenny and the Nets, a podcast covering the Brooklyn Nets, hosted by me, Spen Harris, joined for the second week in a row by my recently turned 30-year-old co-host, Nick.
Hey, what's up?
Happy birthday. May the 4th be with you, which was yesterday, and happy Cinco de Mayo. It is May 5th. Nick's birthday was May 3rd. It's been a fun 2 days. We celebrated his birthday in Brooklyn at a really cool bar called Gran Torino, which is ironic because the intro song for this podcast is El Camino.
Gran Torino is a movie with Clint Eastwood that he directed and starred in, and he yelled at people to get off his porch. I never saw it. I just assume he kept getting mad because people were coming on his porch, because that's what the trailer was about.
Yeah, I saw it back in the day. It's an okay movie. He's really racist, and then he befriends this young Korean man, and then he's not as racist. That's kind of the movie.
This is my impression of Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. Get off my lawn.
That was great. Great impression, Nick. Happy birthday. Happy 30th.
Thank you.
And it's all downhill from here. Okay. And you're a Nets fan. So even in sports, you can't escape just the mediocrity and the disappointment of everyday life.
I love watching the Knicks win in the first round. That makes me happy.
We're not even at that point in the podcast yet. We're going to get to those Manhattan Knickerbockers eventually, but for all our fans out there, today we were supposed to have a special guest. If you heard on the show last week, we teased it a bit. Unfortunately, due to some incompetence on my end and misspelling of email addresses, it's not going to happen this week.
Why don't you just say like scheduling conflicts so you don't seem like a dumbass?
Because I'm transparent and I'm honest with our listeners, and people make mistakes, and I think that everyone deserves a second chance.
Okay.
Sometimes goodbye is a second chance.
I watched The Replacements yesterday. Such a good movie.
It is a good movie. And for people who have listened to more episodes of this podcast than not, you've referred to The Replacements, which is a movie about football, a football team.
What's this from? When I look at you, I see two men. And the man you ought to be.
Right.
One day those two men will meet. And they'll make one heck of a football player. You gotta let me finish the quote.
Moving on. So no special guest this week, but that's okay because you got us, and we have a lot to get to today. Nick, are you ready to get into it?
Let's do it, bro.
All right. So the first bit of news, and this was tweeted from the Brooklyn Nets official Twitter account today. The Nets will be introducing a 9-part documentary series offering an inside look at the Brooklyn Nets scouting process as the team prepares for the 2025 NBA draft, and it is called Scout. And here's a quick I'll play 20 seconds of the preview for all the listeners out there. Here it is.
This year's critical for us. I can't say it any other way. To get this draft right and to really nail it. Really, really excited about that.
The Nets have a clear direction. The ultimate pick package comes back to the Brooklyn Nets. They absolutely crushed it. They are loaded going forward with draft assets.
We have 4 first-round picks, which I am excited.
All right. So that's a 9-part documentary series. What'd you say?
I said I could barely hear that.
Well, it played. It was there. 9-part documentary series on YouTube. Look, if you listen to that, you can't not get pumped for the future of the Nets. Now, granted, it is the Brooklyn Nets posting that. They're promoting the show. They're obviously going to paint the Brooklyn Nets in a positive light. But I am excited for kind of this transparent sort of open book view of what the process is going to look like. You know, we as fans, we love to critique, especially when our team doesn't perform. And you know, the people who get the biggest criticisms are the front office. So if they're going to put out their whole thought process, even if it is a little bit biased and you know, more so favoring the Nets because it's being put out by the Nets, I'm still excited. I'm going to watch it. What do you think, Nick? Are you going to tune in?
We haven't had a winning season in 3 years, and we're trying to focus on a rebuild. So why are we doing a documentary? Like, why is that getting energy when all of our energy should be in winning basketball games and putting together a winning team? I guess the only argument you could make is we're not selling tickets. We might as well make money off the documentary. So great, Nets. Way to get a cash grab. Proud of you guys.
My only pushback to that is I doubt that the people who are executing the documentary are the same people making the basketball decisions. I think.
Yes,
I
but
don't
the
think
people making the
yeah.
basketball decisions have to give them full access to the team.
I mean, yeah, full. I don't know how much access they're going to give them, but probably not full access. They'll give them a little bit of access.
I'm just saying if some practices or some training sessions or some meetings, there's 3 cameras pointed on you, that might change the way you're behaving and thinking. Are you thinking 100% clearly? Are you making the best educated decisions for your team? I don't know. I think this is going to be cool to watch as a consumer, as a fan. I hope it doesn't impact the actual progress of the Nets organization trying to rebuild a team.
Can you promise the listeners that you're going to watch so we can talk about it the next time we record?
Is it out?
It comes out. Hold on.
Just text me when it's out and I'll watch it.
Okay. The first episode is drops tomorrow, May 6th at noon on YouTube.
I mean, maybe it's a great marketing ploy because I don't think we've ever watched a Hard Knocks season in the NFL and not been like, oh, that was cool. I kind of have a little bit of an emotional attachment towards this team and some of these players now, no matter what the team or players are. So maybe if someone watches this, not a Brooklyn Nets fan, they might have a little more love for the Nets, have a little more respect for the organization. It kind of opens you up in a way where you actually get to meet some of the players.
I am praying it does not backfire like the Giants front office show did.
Fair.
Because that was the worst thing. You show us an inside look at your organization and you have the general manager saying, I don't think that paying Saquon is worth it. And then he goes, has one of the greatest seasons of all time and wins a Super Bowl. Yeah, let's just hope that doesn't happen for the Brooklyn Nets.
The only time I've ever watched a sports documentary in the past couple of years and maybe didn't like a player as much would be Ant-Man in Starting Five. Again, they filmed that like 2 years ago. I thought he was a little immature. I think he was 21. The ongoing joke was he kind of disrespected Barack Obama. Like Barack Obama was like excited to meet him and he kind of big manned him and like acted like he was hot shit. Now Ant-Man just put on a show against the Lakers in this first round. He was awesome. All the other players like Durant, LeBron, everyone respects him. He commands respect from everybody in the league. So that feeling faded away. But at the time, I would say of all the guys on that show, it was like Tatum, Sabonis, Steph, LeBron. I forget who else they showed. Or maybe Steph was just on. I'm getting confused with Court of Gold, the Olympic show. Either way, Ant-Man didn't help his reputation on that show.
I get what you're saying. All right, Nick, let's move on to our next segment. It is called Great Day to Be a Nets Fan. So we can get very negative on this podcast about our Brooklyn Nets. The team hasn't won that much in recent years. There's a lot to be unhappy about, but there is a lot to be very, very grateful for and excited for. So I have a few reasons why it's a great day to be a Nets fan, and feel free to react to each of my reasons. Okay, number one, we don't have to stress about the playoffs this year because we didn't make it.
That's a positive? So
yeah.
now I'm just angrily watching the Knicks and Celtics win?
Yeah, but I mean, like the stress that you have when your team's in the playoffs and then they like lose in groundbreaking fashion, like maybe your best player's foot is on the line, the 3-point line to hit the go-ahead 3 and it counts as a 2. So you only tie the team you're playing and then it goes into overtime and you lose. And that was the only shot you really had a championship sort of goal in the last 15 years is that moment. Yeah, you don't have to live with that stress and anxiety when your team's not in the playoffs. So
it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. You're coming from such a sheltered, safe way of thinking. You're scared of getting hurt again. Wake up. We need to go back to the playoffs. Probably going to lose the first couple seasons we get there. 4 years from now, championship. Stop showing me your chest. I don't want to see your chest. Keep the camera up.
Okay, next up. We have the 6th best chances of getting the first overall pick. That's a lot better than most teams in the league.
Can this be the hottest take of all time? Do you really think Cooper Flagg is going to like make or break an organization?
Yes.
Okay. I just think he's gonna be like what if he's like Christian Leitner?
That's a possibility, but everything I've seen from him in college, and the one thing he's kind of missing in college is that signature clutch gene moment. Like he had a chance. Who did they lose to in the Final Four? They lost to Houston.
Yeah.
So he had a chance to beat Houston with that shot. We haven't seen, but yeah, no, I do think if he comes to your organization, he is a guy you want to build around for sure.
I would love him. I love Cooper Flag. I mean, yes, I agree. That shot at the end hurt. It maybe hurt the public view of him by 5%. He had a perfect college season that would have been encapsulated by winning a championship. He would have then come to the NBA like at one of the highest points anybody can come from a college career, winning one and done, first pick overall. With that said, you can't define someone by one shot.
Okay. Reason number 3 why it's a great day to be a Nets fan. Jordy Fernandez, great coach.
I think it's a great day every day when you have Jordy Fernandez as your coach.
Great coach. Okay, reason number 4. We have so many draft picks these next few years, like so many, way more than all the other teams have.
I watched Draft Day. Have you seen that movie with Kevin Costner yesterday?
Yes, it's Vontae Mack, no matter what.
It's a pretty average movie, and shout out Jack Williamson for telling me it was a must-watch. Very mediocre.
It's a great. First of all, it's not very mediocre. It's a perfect representation of what the NFL draft is like. Okay, he had to figure out why those players didn't go to Bo Callahan's birthday party, and then why Bo Callahan lied about it. No spoilers. Vontae Mack, no matter what, no spoilers.
He made the dumbest draft trade in the history of the world of mankind, and then somehow convinced a coach to take it back. That was the whole movie. Okay. Here's my thought on the drafts. I brought up Draft Day because what that movie taught me is there's something so exciting about teams being able to draft, having multiple picks in the draft. NFL, they talk about having that first pick, that 7th pick. It is game changing. NFL is what? If I'm not mistaken, is that 5 or 6 rounds? What's NFL?
I think it's like 7.
Something like that, 7 rounds? Yeah, because Brady was in the last one.
Like
The NBA is 2. So just look at an NBA roster versus an NFL roster. An NBA roster has like 15 players. So the draft is that much more important. When you're drafting 2 or 3 players to an organization, that's potentially going to be 10 to 15 to 20% of your team if these are good players. So this is such an impactful draft when you have multiple picks, which we have not in so long. So I'm probably for the first time in years going to watch the entire extent of the NBA draft just to see the players that the Nets are going to be building around.
Are you ready for another reason why it's a great day to be a Nets fan? I only have 2 more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is reason number 5 why it's a great day to be a Nets fan.
Yeah.
Remember Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin?
No, I forgot about them both. Yeah, of course.
They were pretty great. How about Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson? Remember how they used to dunk the ball?
Why are you putting Jefferson like 4th?
Good times. Great day to be a Nets fan. And then the last reason, number, I guess, sixth reason why it's a great day to be a Nets fan. We're not the stupid Knicks.
Yeah, I hate the Knicks. I hate Jalen Brunson's falling down on the court. What was my saying last week? Jalen Brunson spends more time on the floor than a Roomba. I'm sticking by that.
Yeah, we called him Roomba Brunson.
I also really liked, did you see Grill Guy? Shout out Grill Guy and Instagram's impression of Cat.
Yes. Yeah, that was social media at its finest. I mean, making fun of Karl Anthony Towns, it's low-hanging fruit, but if you're able to do it in a way that's effective, I mean, it's very funny. Okay, Nick. So those are the reasons why it's a great day to be a Nets fan. Do you have any more?
No, but thank you for that.
Okay, I gave you 6. Okay, so this next segment is called Goodbye for Now, So Long. You know who sings that song?
Nickelback?
POD.
Great. Why? What's this?
So long to the Locked On Nets podcast with Doug Norrie and Adam Armbrecht, one of the other premier Nets podcasts out there aside from us. They're going to be recording their last episode at the end of the month. They've been doing it for 6 years. And just a quick note from these guys. 6+ years ago, we thought it'd be fun to start podcasting about the Nets. 1,000+ episodes and many millions of downloads later, we can confidently say we were right. It has been an enormous amount of fun podcasting about the Brooklyn Nets. Has every basketball moment been incredible? Duh, no. But that's the nature of sport fandom. It's the blessing and the curse. In these years, as podcasters and as a fan base, we've watched Scary Hours, Katie's Foot on the Line, Late Night McHale trades, NBA Draft Live at the Barclays, Going for It All, and Tanking. And pretty much everything else that comes with talking about a basketball team 5 days a week. Okay, there's a lot here. And then at the end, he says, we've had a blast and wouldn't give back a single moment of it. And in honor of the all-time poets who closed each and every episode, we just want to say thanks for listening. Adam and Doug, Locked On Nets.
Thank you guys for your service to this Nets organization. I can't believe you just said they did 5 episodes a week. That's horrifying.
I mean, they were committed, and not only did I say 5 episodes a week?
I doubt that's what they did. That's what you said. You said 5 times a week or something.
No, they said talking about a basketball team 5 days a week.
I got 1.
That was true. Listen, I have interacted with those guys on Twitter. They're 2 of the more clever people who cover the Nets on Twitter. I really liked, I didn't listen to a ton of their episodes, but the ones I did listen to, I enjoyed it. They had great banter, and real recognized real. Me and Nick, we love doing this show. We put it out as much as we can, but those guys, they were doing it for a little bit longer than us, and like Nick said, 5 days a week. I mean, that's incredible. So shout out to Doug and Adam, and I wish them nothing but the best in their future endeavors.
Absolutely.
Okay, Nick. So we are going to move on to a live draft simulator. All right. So I have up right now a tankathon, and I have to sim the lottery. Are you ready? So I'm going to do it twice. Once for me, once for you. So count me down from 3.
3, 2, 1.
Sim lottery. Here we go. Okay. Brooklyn Nets with the 4th pick overall. Not bad.
Con Knipple. I want Con Knipple.
Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. You ready? Are we going to do better or worse than 4?
Better.
Okay, so we had the 4th pick. Now we're going to sim the lottery again. 3, 2, 1. Sim lottery. We got the 3rd pick. Holy shit.
That's huge.
Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper. I'll take either of them.
Nah, still Con Knipple. Keep going.
Enough with the Con Knipple. God. Okay, should I do one more? Or we'll leave it at 3 and 4.
One more. I think we'll get number 1
One
on
more.
this one.
Okay, one more. Last one. 7. So what does that average out to? That's 4, 3, 7. We're pretty much smack dab at 6, where we are right now in the lottery odds.
No matter what, we're getting Vontae Mack.
Vontae Mack, no matter what. By the way, P. Diddy is an agent in that movie.
Yeah, I know. I texted my friend Jack after and said, "Thanks for making me watch P. Diddy touch this." Oh, do you know the actor playing
Bo Callahan?
Callahan was the double in Social Network who doubles as a Winklevoss twin
Really interesting.
with Armie Hammer. Speak of people who have been out of Hollywood for a little bit now.
Shout out Arian Foster. Great in that movie.
Legend.
All right. So we did the live draft simulator. We pretty much averaged the 6th pick. This next segment, Nick, it's called Around the League. So last week we talked in depth about the first round. We're not going to cover all that again, but we are just going to do a quick recap. In the last few days, the Nuggets beat the Clippers in 7 games. Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, former champions, the 3 of those guys, Michael Porter Jr., they were able to take down the Clippers. And Nick, a tale as old as time, James Harden chokes in another Game 7.
Yeah, I have the hottest take of all because I have the Nuggets in my NBA bracket winning it all. I think if you're looking at this Nuggets roster from 2 years ago when they won the championship, they have just as much talent, and now Christian Brown replaced Bruce Brown in the starting lineup, and Christian Brown averaged 15 points a game. Maybe not, you can't say he's good defensively, maybe not as good of a role player or glue guy as Bruce Brown was at his prime a couple years ago, but he's a scorer and he's got a dog mentality. So if you're looking 2 years ago, Besides that, obviously Mike Malone out, team lost a little bit of its identity, a little bit of its cohesion, but I think the Nuggets, if playing at their full potential, can win a championship. To go on your point with Harden, Harden did what Harden does. Harden did what Harden do. Disappears when it matters most. Had some breakout games this season, had some breakout games in the playoffs, but let's also call it what it is. He had some breakout games that seemed like breakout games because he hasn't been as good the past couple of years. So it's like he went from 4 or 5 years ago having 30-point games week after week to having 10-point games, then one 40-point game, and we're all like, holy shit, he's back, right? When your expectations are lower and he exceeds them, it feels much more impactful. I like seeing Harden go down. I learned from this series too, Kawhi Leonard still got it when he's healthy. Kawhi's a beast. I gain respect for Zubats, putting up a great fight against Jokic, averaging 20 points a game. So really, that Clippers team is a couple players away. Someone instead of Harden as that number two could be a playoff contender team going much deeper than they did this year. And listen, the pendulum swings a little bit in another direction. The Clippers could have beat the Nuggets on another day. All that to say, I like this Nuggets team. I like their chances. Who knows if they make it to playing the Thunder? Oh, they are playing the Thunder. If they could.
No, they're not. Oh, yeah, they are. They are. Yeah, it's Warriors.
Game 1 is tonight. Monday, May 5th, they're playing tonight. I think a little shitty that they're catching, 2 days of rest compared to the Thunder, who've been off for a week after sweeping the Grizz. We'll see what happens. If the Nuggets could beat the Thunder in a freaking brawl, and they can kind of expose the Thunder's inexperience, I think the Nuggets can go all the way. Shout out to Russell freaking Westbrook, bro. He spent the last 4 or 5 years going to 3 or 4 teams. Nobody's giving him respect. Everyone thinks he's washed up.
He was on the Clippers.
What? He was on the Clippers. I know. That's why he was
Yeah.
going crazy. He has been a beast, dude. I think this is a much better fit for him. So if you're telling me right now in 2023, when the Nuggets won it all with Bruce Brown, would I rather have Westbrook and Christian Brown or Bruce Brown? I love Bruce Brown, former net. I'm going with the current guys.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you feel good about being a Nets fan and something that's going to make you feel terrible. So the thing that's amazing if you're a Nets fan, right before James Harden wanted to trade to Philadelphia while he was in Brooklyn, according to Nets Daily, he passed on a 5-year, $268 million deal from the Nets. He did not want to take the max. It was offered to him. I don't know if that was the max, but that's pretty big money that he passed on. And guess what? Good on the Nets. Our team with just James Harden right now would be terrible. So that makes me feel good as a Nets fan. Here's what does not make me feel good. The Nets, I think, had a deal on the table when they had James Harden. They could have gotten Tyrese Halliburton instead of Ben Simmons. And they chose to trade for Ben Simmons. So that's not the coolest.
And how good did Halliburton look? And how good did Halliburton look in that first game?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that series in a sec, but yeah, it makes me feel good that we didn't give Harden all that money because I just don't know what his career would have looked like had he stayed in Brooklyn. Maybe Kyrie and KD would have stayed. I don't know, but yeah, the guy has just, whether it's with Philly, whether it's with the Clippers, he has choked every single year in the playoffs forever, and not mad about it. On the other hand, Ben Simmons, just did nothing for the Clippers after they bought him out. I think his career in the NBA is a lot closer to being done than people might think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, Nick. Second round. I'm sorry. The last thing I wanted to talk about, Golden State, the Warriors beat the Rockets in 7 games. Makes sense. I thought they should have had him in 5. Rockets got those 2 games back, forced a game 7. This Rockets team is young, inexperienced. I don't think that they have enough talent right now to seriously compete in the West. There's a lot of people thinking, hey, maybe Kevin Durant goes to Houston, plays with Amen Thompson and Şengün, and that's your big 3. I don't think Giannis makes the most sense because Amen Thompson's game is it's in the paint. So both those guys live in the paint with Şengün. It's just that spacing would be horrible with those 3 players. So yeah, Kevin Durant over there. There's a few names you can throw out, but Steph is Steph. This Warriors team did just enough yesterday. Buddy Hield had an incredible game 7. Unbelievable shooting night for Buddy Hield.
33 points, 12 for 15 from the field.
Yeah, Draymond Green played really nice in game 7. I mean, he had a really good defensive series on Şengün. He made life very, very difficult for the Rockets big man. And then Jimmy Butler, I mean, shows up in the playoffs. He had 20 plus in game 7. Warriors handled business, and now we get a really fun series. Golden State against Minnesota, Ant-Man against Steph. That's going to be fun to watch. And then, Nuggets will play Oklahoma City. So we can get, did you have any thoughts you wanted to share on the Warriors-Rocket series before we move on to second round predictions?
I think the Rockets, like you said, you took the words out of my mouth. It's Amen Thompson and Şengün. Those are the guys. That's who I saw. I did not watch the Rockets a lot this regular season. They were freaking beasts. I think Van Vliet, I know he had a great series. After I talk shit about him, he shot lights out. I just still don't think he's the guy that's going to help them get further than a first round right now. I thought Jalen Green, obviously 21 points a game in the regular season. I think they said 9 points a game outside of that 38-point performance he had, was nowhere to be seen. He shot 31% in the field in those other 6 games in this series. That could be an anomaly. It was his first playoffs. He might have been rusty. He might have been a mental thing. Maybe he works through that and he learns from this. But he showed me nothing as to why he should be this guy going forward. So I agree with you. They need another big player. Maybe he could be the number 2 or 3. Maybe Kevin Durant comes in instead of – I love Amen Thompson. I think he is a must-keep on this team. Maybe there's a smaller role for Jalen Green as an athletic 2 or 3. He's just got to shoot more efficiently. The only thing I'll say about the Warriors, they're lucky they're not playing the Thunder in the second round. T-Wolves are more beatable than the Thunder, even though the T-Wolves are going to really outsize Warriors down low. Who do you have? Draymond on Randall, and then who's guarding Gobert?
Well, I would say Draymond on Gobert, and then you put like a Butler. Jimmy Butler has to match up with Randall. Yeah, something along those lines. How it is. I'll say this. In terms of the Warriors, I think that Steph had his hands full against that Rockets defense. I don't think that Minnesota's defense against Steph is going to be that much better than what the Rockets threw at him with Amen Thompson. Like, let's be real. Amen Thompson and Ausar Thompson are both the future of the NBA. They both had incredible first-round series. They're the most athletic people on the court when they play. They just need to learn how to shoot jumpers. But if they can get some kind of mid-range game, some kind of three-point game, those two guys are going to be superstar, bona fide all-stars. Like it was at times in that fourth and third quarter, Amen Thompson was the best player on the court.
Some of his drives were unstoppable.
Yeah, and for the Rockets, you talk about Jalen Green, shied away from the moment. Şengün really couldn't get much going. Amen Thompson and Ausar Thompson, both those guys stepped up and they relished being in the playoffs. So really excited to see their ascension.
Shout out to their parents who apparently flew back and forth to every single game.
I would love to see them on the same team. I think that would be cool. But all right, second round predictions. We'll start in the East with the Pacers already up 1 game to nothing against the Cleveland Cavaliers. No Darius Garland in game 1 for Cleveland. Now we're hearing that Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter's statuses are questionable for game 2. Nick, with the Pacers up 1-0, what is your prediction for the rest of the series?
It's tough because I think the Pacers shot the best they will ever shoot in a playoff game. Like, I believe they were over 50% from 3, over 50% from the field overall. Like, I think it was just such an unbelievably efficient night for the Pacers, who have been putting up unbelievable playoff numbers the last 2 seasons. I mean, far exceeding anybody's expectations, obviously, last year, and then this year already looking just as good, if not better, because Matherin's healthy. And Matherin's a great, great offensive player, an attack player, and a shooter. I'm going to say it goes to 6 or 7. I think even without Garland, if you can get a Mobley back, if you can get a Hunter back, especially both, they are just so deep. They have so much talent. I'm big on Ty Jerome. I'm big on the Mobley-Jarrett out combination. And I think Donnie Mitchell didn't have his best performance. He's going to have some unbelievable 30 to 40-point games over the next week. If you're telling me Mobley and Hunter come back, I think Cavs pull it out in 6 or 7. If you're telling me significant injuries to one or both of those players, maybe I could see Pacers in 6 or 7. But right now, I'm going to consider that one game an unbelievable performance from the Pacers. But the Cavs, who have looked probably the most consistent team of the year after the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think the Cavs are still the team to beat.
I think this series is going to come down to who is the best player on the court. And in game one, it was Tyrese Halliburton in terms of just setting guys up, controlling the game. He outplayed Donovan Mitchell. And I'm not even like looking at the stats right now, but I'm just talking about the eye test. Halliburton was able to set his guys up. He was able to get Nembhard and Naismith going. He was able to find Siakam and Turner when those guys were open. And, you know, as great as Donovan Mitchell is, he is a score-first player. So for me, as long as Halliburton just keeps playing the way he did in game one, it's going to be a hard series for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It just is. But I agree with you. If they're able to get everybody healthy, I think it's Cavs in 6, but that's a big if.
Hey.
All right. Next series up, we got to talk about it. The New York Knicks at the Boston Celtics. The series starts tonight, May 5th. If you're listening, May 6th. It already happened. The first game. Let's break this down, Nick. What is your serious prediction? And remove your Knicks hatred for a second to just have an unbiased opinion. What do you think happens in this series?
I'm going to say 4-1 Celtics. That's me completely unbiased. I think the Knicks, Jalen Brunson's one of the most clutch players in the league. I think he's like ranked 1 or 2 in every clutch category. I just don't think they have the depth and the manpower that the Celtics do. Like I said last week, Knicks just got by the Pistons. A call goes a different way. I'm not blaming it. A call goes a different way. Couple shots fall. That's an entirely different series. I think the Celtics are in another league than both of those teams. I think after the Thunder, after the Cavs, Celtics are the top 3 best team in the league. They're just too good. You have Tatum, you have Brown, and now you have Porzingis, who's still playing at such an elite superstar level as he was 3 or 4 years ago when he was on the Knicks. So maybe more than that. Was he on the Mavs then? Anyway, I think this team, Derek White, unbelievable. If you had Derek White in your top 3, you'd be happy. They have him in as like a 4 or 5 option most of those games. So Celtics are too good. Maybe the Knicks steal one in New York, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a sweep. I think they'll cut some games close, but I think the Celtics will go in 4 or 5.
I have the Celtics in 6. I think that the Celtics are the better basketball team. But hear me out. I don't think the Knicks are less talented than the Celtics in terms of their starting 5. I actually think the Knicks match the Celtics in terms of talent. The reason the Knicks acquired Mikal Bridges and they picked up Karl-Anthony Towns was to compete with the Celtics team, right? They got the wings. They have Josh Hart, they have OG Anunoby, and now they have Mikal Bridges. Those are 3 wings who you can put against Tatum Brown to do something. But what the Knicks don't have, they don't have the chemistry. I think that was evident in the series against Detroit. The Knicks did not win that first round series because of team basketball, okay? They won because of Jalen Brunson being probably a top 2 clutch player in the NBA. He's probably number 1. They won that series because Detroit is a young, inexperienced team who played, I think, a little above their level. And I look at the Knicks and I just think, yeah, like Karl-Anthony Towns, all-star, Jalen Brunson, superstar, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. These guys are really fucking good at basketball, but they have not played playoff basketball together that long. This Celtics team is the exact same Celtics team that won a chip last year, practically the same exact roster. So for me, that's the difference. It's the cohesiveness. It's Mazzulla ball. You know, Joe, I think, has a much tighter grip on this team than Thibodeau does. To me, the Knicks are like a few mistakes away from just unraveling and finger pointing, as opposed to the Celtics who, yeah, they lost that game. Was it game 2 or game 3 against Orlando? And what did they do? They came back and closed them out in 5. So, you know, that's, for me, it's not a matter of who's more talented. It's a matter of who has better chemistry, and it's the Celtics by a mile.
Agreed.
All right, let's get to the West. Warriors, Timberwolves. I think this is going to be the most fun series of the second round. I mean, Pacers and Cavs is up there, but I just think Steph versus Ant-Man is going to be must-see TV. Jaden McDaniels, to me, is going to be the guy who's going to cover Steph. If it's not Anthony Edwards, it's going to be one of those 2 guys. Both really good defenders. How many times does Draymond Green kick Rudy Gobert in the balls? Over under, I'm guessing is at like 3.5. It's going to be a fun series. Yeah. So my prediction, I'll go T-Wolves in 6.
I'm going to go, and I hate to say this because I'm a big Warriors stan. I'm going to go T-Wolves in 7. If I did not watch the T-Wolves beat the Lakers with the tenacity they did, especially when every single person picked the Lakers, everyone. I knew one person in my pool that picked the T-Wolves. I think one ESPN, I forget who, was it Molly Queeram who might have picked the T-Wolves? Like one person I saw. Everyone is in on the Lakers, and that just fired Ant-Man up to put on one of his best playoff performances I've ever seen. So for those reasons, I'm sorry, Steph. I think you guys are just going to be undersized. I'm going to go T-Wolves in 7, but I'm giving the Warriors 3 games because they're the freaking Golden State Warriors.
Okay. You got Wolves in 7. I got Wolves in 6. And then the final series is the Denver Nuggets against the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a tough one for me because this is kind of where it's the best team in the league in the regular season meets the championship level team. It's the MVP and probably Shai Gilgeous-Alexander against the 3-time MVP winner in Nikola Jokic. Give me the Nuggets. Give me the Nuggets in 6 games to upset the Thunder.
I was going to say the same exact thing, which sucks because we're not arguing much right now, but I'm going to say Nuggets in 6 as well. I picked Nuggets early on, like I said. I think if they're playing their best basketball, which they just closed out that game in a really, really exciting and pretty dominant fashion against the Clippers, who are putting up big numbers, I'm going to go Nuggets in 6. I think the Thunder have so much confidence right now, but maybe if they lose a game or two because they're swept right now, they get a little bit put off their game. Maybe, maybe not. But as a young, inexperienced team, I think that's possible.
Yeah, there's some cool storylines there, right? Like I said, Jokic versus Shai. You have Russell Westbrook going up against the Thunder, the team that, he came up with. Jamal Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, both played for Team Canada. It's going to be a fun series. I like Denver in 6, but yeah, I also think the fact that like the Thunder and the Cavs had such easy first round series, it almost goes against them. Like you saw what happened to the Cavs against the Pacers. They were not ready for a team like Indiana because they had faced the 10 seed Miami Heat. And now the Thunder are coming off sweeping the Grizzlies with basically, half a John Morant for most of that series. And I don't know. I think when you get such an easy sweep like that in the playoffs, it doesn't bode well for the next round. And that's kind of why, like, I look at that Celtics-Knicks series, Orlando's not a bad basketball team. Like they pushed the Celtics in some aspects to where I think it was a good first round test. So yeah, I like the Nuggets because they just got out of a dogfight with the Clippers. And I think that OKC's sort of pillow fight with Memphis is going to go against them.
I'm with you. All
right. That does it for this week's episode of Spenny and the Nets, Ep 221. That's 221 episodes Nick and I have done, not together, but he's been around a long while. Nick, any final words for the listeners before we close shop?
I think everyone listening to this podcast hates the Knicks as much as we do. So get all your friends together, your family together, your pets, root against the Knicks as much as you possibly can. We are all in on any other team winning, maybe outside of the Celtics too, but outside of the Knicks and Celtics, I'd be happy to see some of these other teams, especially these teams who have never won or who haven't even been a contender in years. The Thunder, the T-Wolves. Really fun to see some of these smaller teams now competing for a championship, not the Knicks.
All right. That does it for this week's episode. Great day to be a Nets fan. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. I'm Spen Harris. He's my co-host, Nick. Bye-bye.